And here we go. Welcome in to another edition of Bucky and BK alongside Bucky Godbolt. I am BK Brad Kellner. Today is Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. And we appreciate y'all spending some time with us today. Plenty to get to on today's program. Texas football has landed another commitment for the class of 2027. We've got some Texas basketball to get into as the Longhorns are back in action against South Carolina tonight. Roger Goodell giving his State of the Union for the National Football League, some redistricting for high school sports in Central Texas. The NBA trade deadline is coming up in a couple of days. We've got a couple of fun stories to dive into as well. We are locked and we are loaded here on a Tuesday. And again, thanks so much for joining us. How are you today, Buck?
I'm doing fantastic. I see James Harden maybe on the move again.
Again.
Of course. You think that dude could stay in one place? Well, he's been with the Clippers it's got to be at least 4 years. I mean, he's been there a while.
For James Harden, it does feel like a long time for him to stay. Yeah, it does.
They haven't thrown him out of town yet. He hadn't hit, maybe he's hit all the strip clubs.
Right. Yeah, James Harden has played for, I believe, 5 teams to this point in his career.
Sounds about right.
It sounds like there's a chance it will be 6 by the time we get to Thursday night's trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, that dude can still ball, 36 years old.
Yeah, averaging 25 points and 8 assists per game. Yeah, the Clippers got off to a horrible start. I think they opened up the year 6-21. Since then, they're 17-5. They've kind of played themselves back into the playoff hunt. They do own the 9 seed in the Western Conference right now, but James Harden on the last year of his contract, getting up there in age.
Sure.
Maybe the Clippers feel like they need, and they probably should feel like they need to get younger. So we could see him get traded. We could see Giannis Antetokounmpo, the 2-time MVP, get traded. So this may be one of the more active NBA trade deadlines we've had in recent memory.
Yeah, it looks like that way because Giannis is that move can change the balance of power in a hurry, depending on where he ends up. And for me, I'd hope he ends up with Golden State with Steph Curry for a final run there. Well, not a final run. Who knows? Steph Curry could shoot 3-point shots until he's 50, probably.
Yeah, hasn't slowed down much yet. But you're right. I mean, look, James Harden is no longer regarded as one of the best players in the league, but Giannis is still very much in the prime of his career.
No doubt.
So, yeah, any team that's able to land him is obviously getting a superstar still in his prime. So that will be the biggest domino. We'll see if a deal gets done. The Bucks should trade him because they're terrible. Yeah, that would be the biggest domino and something that could definitely tip the balance of power in the NBA.
No doubt about it. Good day to the soldiers at Fort Hood, Texas, the soldiers in the state of Texas, and all those that fight for us each and every day. Thank you so very much for what you do. To you and your families, thank your families for sharing you with all of us. And we do appreciate that. And please do be safe out there.
Yes, indeed. Short show on the radio side coming up at 5:30. We'll have pregame for Texas and South Carolina. And, of course, tip off just after 6 o'clock at the Moody Center. But short show for those of you tuned in on the Zone. We appreciate that. Buck, Texas football. Tomorrow is National Signing Day for the class of 2026.
We all know that. We all know that, don't we?
Well, you're getting old. I just wanted to remind you.
Okay.
And,
just to make sure.
Not nearly as much action with this National Signing Day 2 as there used to be.
No, but there will be action tomorrow.
As of now, Texas has 1 player scheduled to sign. That is Elijah Ali, the defensive lineman from the state of California who committed back on Saturday. We talked about him during yesterday's show, but it feels like that's pretty much it, right? Just about all of Texas's work for that 26 cycle is done. So the Longhorns are turning their attention to 2027. Of course, we're still 10 months away from the first National Signing Day for that 27 cycle. But Texas yesterday landed its 5th commitment in that 27 class, their 2nd in the last week. Coach Boom back at Texas, Buck. Before we talk about Cade Hogg, the player that did announce his commitment to Texas, this is something that is upgrading for the Longhorns. Time will tell. We know about Will Muschamp. He's been here before. We knew his first stint at Texas was about as successful of a stint as you could have as a defensive coordinator. But time will tell if Steve Sarkisian got the decision right to move on from Pete Kwiatkowski and bring Coach Boom back. But one thing that Coach Boom does a much better job of than Pete Kwiatkowski did? Recruiting. And you're already seeing the fruits of that labor pay off. 2 defensive commits in the last week for Texas already.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Will Muschamp, and look, a lot of the Texas coaching staff hitting the trail right now. They've been around the state of Texas. They've been around Oklahoma and Louisiana and some other surrounding areas. And yesterday they got the pledge from Cade Hogg, who was in Austin this past weekend on a visit. And again, he announces his pledge yesterday. Linebacker from Kingwood High School in the Houston area. Only a 3-star in terms of the rankings, but this guy has had 5-star production on his high school team. He just wrapped up his junior year. He already has Kingwood's all-time record for tackles and tackles for a loss in a career. He's only played 3 years so far.
Man, so he's got another full season to play?
Another full season to play.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's already put up some ridiculous numbers. 323 tackles, 24 TFLs, 6 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 2 interceptions. He has been all over that defense. 6'2", 220 pounds. Also, Buck, I know as a former running back coach, you'll get a kick out of this. Cade Hogg has played some running back for his high school team. Not an every down guy, but did have 22 carries for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. Runs track, throws discus, does discus, whatever we're supposed to say.
I think flings discus or something like that. Yeah.
Flings the disc. I don't know, but multi-sport athlete, guy who does a little bit of everything, and a nice get for Texas in the very early stages in putting together this 2027.
What type of high school is that, Kingswood? Is that a 6A or 5? I mean, is that small high school football? If he's doing all of those things, I mean, he's running track and
Kingwood
is he a basketball player?
I don't believe he is a basketball player, but Kingwood is a 6A high school in the state of Texas. So, you know, that area has gotten so big over the years. I have a couple buddies who live there, and it's just crazy. The Kingwood used to be nothing for Houston, and now it's just kind of a massive city on its own. At least it feels that way. But yeah, 6A Texas high school football. And again, more than 100 tackles in each of the last 2 years. In 2025 alone, 108 tackles, 19 TFLs, and 3 sacks. As a sophomore, Kingwood made a deep run into the playoffs in 2024, and he notched 153 tackles.
Wow.
That season. I think they played 14 games, so obviously some more opportunities to inflate the stats a little bit. But I like
He's
this.
A speed guy with a lot of agility. All that kind of 150-some tackles at that young sophomore. Wow.
Yeah, pretty good track times too as well, especially for a guy who's 6'2", pushing 220 pounds. And you know, you hear that size and you're thinking, all right, that's a little small for a college linebacker. It seems like he has the frame that can handle another 10, 15, 20 pounds. And I do think as, you know, Cade Hogg gets older and matures and continues to work out, that he is going to add a few more LBs.
Or at least 10 pounds.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to take away. Like, it's not going to be, oh, shoot, this is really hard for me to do. And if I add this weight, I'm going to lose my ability and my speed and my agility. Seems like a guy who can pretty safely add, again, 10, 15, 20 pounds to his frame and still be a pretty productive player.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, pick Texas over, had a number of different offers, SMU, Houston, Utah, Kentucky, I think 17 other offers before picking Texas. And it's kind of funny, Buck. Cade Hogg comes from a family of A&M grads.
Oh, that hurts.
His mom played college softball for the Aggies. So, hey, parents maybe made some bad decisions, but at least they're raising their kids to make the right ones.
Yeah, at least their kids doing the right thing. Good job.
Way to go, Cade Hogg. Smart choice, young man. And I think, Buck, this is, you know, I'm very interested to see how Texas and other teams around college football handle roster building moving forward with the scholarship number increasing from 85 to 105. Like, it's felt like in recent years, Texas has kind of waited to the summer before offering a bunch of kids. And now with 20 extra scholarships, it feels like, okay, no, we can take some chances on some guys. You know, in the past, it's like, well, we only want to take 2 linebackers in this class because we can only have 7 or 8 on our roster. Now, because of the increase in scholarships, you can maybe take some flyers on some guys like this earlier than you could in the past.
Yeah, you don't have to delve into, I mean, every aspect of what they do. You're just taking a chance that their kids that are gonna be developing. You know, if you got parents that went to A&M and you decide to go to Texas, people are gonna look at that and go, "Nice, smart kid, we need him."
Yeah, that's the hope. And look, Cade Hogg, I mean, I don't
And the
expect him to
numbers are
be
great. Those are great numbers.
great numbers. And again, still has another year of high school ball left. So we'll see what he does for an encore in
Sure.
his senior season. As of now, I don't think this is like an immediate contributor on defense, but I see those numbers, Buck, and I see the size and the speed. I'm like, well, this guy could at least contribute on special teams early on at
Oh,
Texas.
yeah, yeah, I mean, that's what's gonna happen, when you start getting kids like this, PK, with these numbers and stuff, your special teams, you're gonna start. I know a lot of players don't wanna be on special teams. A lot of coaches don't wanna play their star players on special teams. But if you can get quality athletes that can come out of high school and get on the special teams immediately, they've got great numbers, as like this kid from a sophomore to a junior and probably in his senior year. I mean, those guys are athletic enough to get down there and run down there on punts and kickoffs and cover, why not?
Yeah, I like the get. And Cade Hogg, by the way, gave a couple of quotes about his decision to choose Texas. Said, quote, "The competition at Texas is unbelievable. Walking in as a freshman and getting to go against the best is what I want."
There you
End
go.
quote. And also he was asked about Will Muschamp, and he said, quote, "He's the nicest guy, coolest guy on the planet. He knows ball. He's intense as a coach, though, and he develops players." End
There you
quote.
go. That's what you want to hear.
Yeah, so there you go. Texas landing a commitment yesterday from Cade Hogg. Again, the fifth pickup for the class of 2027.
Good job.
All right, we'll get back into that conversation a little bit later. Buck, Texas basketball tonight. Back in action against South Carolina. 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip.
Yeah.
This is a big week for Texas.
Yeah, this is a game that you're supposed to take advantage of this group and rout this group at home.
Yeah, South Carolina 11-11 on the year. They're just
Yes.
2-7 in the SEC, which is tied for second to last. You know who is last in the conference, by the way?
OU?
OU.
Yeah, sorry about that.
They
Sooners.
they suck, don't they?
They do.
Always have and always will.
Yes, they will.
South Carolina, by the way, one of their 2 conference wins came against Oklahoma.
Man.
That's how bad OU is. But Texas is a 13.5-point favorite in this one. The folks at KenPom have this as a double-digit victory for the Longhorns as well. And we always spend time talking about quality wins, right? You want to beat really good teams because that increases your chances of making the NCAA tournament. Buck, what's just as important on the other end is avoiding bad losses. And this is a quadrant 3 game. Texas, unfortunately, already does have a quadrant 3 loss. That was the SEC opener to Mississippi State, where the Horns blew that 7-point lead in the final 2 minutes and lost in overtime.
You don't even want to be in a dogfight with this group. You want to have a smooth game straight from the first half through the second half, not a bunch of fouls, not hacking the crap out of people, just playing a clean basketball game where everybody gets involved.
That's it. I mean, that's what you're looking for, tonight and Saturday, because Ole Miss and Chris Beard come to town this weekend. That's another quadrant 3 game. I mean, Ole Miss is 11-10 on the year. South Carolina's 11-11. Ole Miss is 11-10, and they're 3-5 in SEC play. So you've got 2 games at home against weaker teams that are very unlikely to make the NCAA tournament. This is an opportunity for Texas to take care of business and do.
Yeah, and I'm not saying a perfect game because this team, they're going to have a lull on defense at some time during the game where they're going to have that stretch where they're just not playing great defense. They're not doing something right. They're hacking people, but you just can't have a game where I just don't believe a 3-point win in a dogfight against a team like this or a 5-point win is going to do it for the committee. They want to see you play, but they know you're not going to play perfect because it's not that kind of team. They have their flaws, but just don't let your flaws show for very long in a game like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I don't want to, what do you say? Lick your chickens?
Yeah, don't be licking your chickens.
I think a lot of people say count their chickens before they hatch.
Is that what it is? I thought it was lick your chickens. Don't lick your chickens.
I kind of like your version a little better, to be honest with you. But Texas last year did not have a 3-game win streak in the SEC. Now, they've only won one in a row right now, the game against Oklahoma, but they're big favorites, 2 home games against South Carolina and Ole Miss. I would really like to see Texas win these next 2. And if they do that, Buck, they're back over 500 in conference play, which obviously is a good thing. We keep talking about that magic number of 9. If Texas gets to 9-9 in the SEC, you feel good about them receiving an at-large bid to the tournament. Right now,
10's going to get you. 10's going to get you in.
Oh, 10, you're pretty safe. Like if you're 9-9 or 8-10, like you could get in, but there's a good chance if you do, you're going to be playing in Dayton, one of those first 4 games.
Right.
If you're 10-8 or better, Texas only has 5 losses in the league, so they could be better than that. Then yeah, you're safe. You don't have to worry about the first 4. You're going to have a legit spot in the real field of 64. Sure. So that's definitely the goal right there. But yeah, these Q3 games, man, they are blemishes on your resume if you lose them. Bad losses, not.
Yeah, and these are games where you get better. These are the kind of games that you get better at, you know? These aren't supposed to be the dogfight games. These are supposed to be the ones that you play solid defense. You know, your offense is pretty good. We know how good the offense can be. But this is where you play really good defense, you rebound well, and you don't make this you don't have to battle with teams like this. You just have better athletes right now.
Yeah, that's it. And, you know, hopefully we see more of the same from Dalen Swain. I mean, that guy's been Mr. Consistent on both ends of the floor, leading the Longhorns in pretty much every stat you can lead a team in. But also, you know, it was really nice to see some of the other guys step up, right? Simeon Wilcher, Buck. I mean, we've been critical of Sim Wilcher in his first year at Texas. It just hasn't always come together for him. I thought he played his best game in maybe 2 months on Saturday against Oklahoma.
The best game I've ever seen him play since he's been here, period.
Yeah, and 10 points, 2 assists, had a couple of big threes in the second half while that game was still in hand. You know, Cam Heide has had back-to-back really strong shooting performances. I mean, that guy is probably your best three-point shooter on the team.
Yeah, they need him to continue and just keep getting better now.
Yeah.
He's the guy who really can't take a step back. They need him, you know, when tournament play comes, if they get to the tournament, BK, like you said, they need that guy to be on. He can't be coming in there, taking a couple shots, making 1 and missing 4, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
Because he's already – his defense is already suspect. So that – I don't think that changes.
No. The strength of Cam Heide's game is definitely his three-point shooting. And, you know, you want to give that guy as many open looks as possible. And you just hope – look, I mean, with Dalen Swain and Modest, Tremont Mark, Jordan Pope, those guys attract a lot of attention.
Yes, they do.
The way that they play. So sometimes Cam Heide can be the forgotten about man out there. And if you forget about him, he is going to make you pay. Auburn found that out. Oklahoma did too.
And Mark is the guy, BK, right now that needs a couple games like this where he gets back in the swing of things a little bit, you know?
I agree. Yeah, that's the bench performance and Dalen Swain. That's more of the same. But I'd like to see Tremont Mark have a bounce back because his last 2 games, he scored 4 points in the road loss against Auburn, and he scored 4 points in the road win against Oklahoma. That guy, 6-year senior, one of the best players on the squad. He got off to a really good start in league play, and it's like, all right, finally it's coming together, and we don't have to worry about this up and down roller coaster ride for this dude anymore. And then, well, we're at the bottom of the ride right now.
Yeah, he just needs to be aggressive, back to being aggressive again and going to the rack and not settling. I mean, he's had those shots, those jumpers. We just know that he's not always going to make a lot of those 15-footers. You know, he'll make a 3 every once in a while. But we know when he goes to the hoop, he gets fouled because he's physical enough to go to the free throw line. But he stopped kind of doing that. He's been kind of settling. And I'm not saying they're bad shots, just not making them.
Yeah, it's been a struggle.
He can get his shot off.
Yeah, you're right. The good news is, I mean, this Texas offense has been good enough, especially on Saturday, to where they can pick him up. But, you know, for this team to play at its full potential and to cover the 13 and that's a pretty big line. I'll be honest. Like, I feel very good about Texas winning this game tonight, but 13.5 against an SEC team. I know South Carolina is not very good. That feels like a lot. If Texas is going to cover, they're going to need Tremont Mark, I think, to have more than 4 points.
I agree.
So we'll see. I mean, the Longhorns were underdogs against OU, and they not only won, but they won that game by double digits. So maybe they turned a corner. Good news is, Buck, I always check This is a stat that I don't think I'd ever checked in any year before this one. How often do the opposing teams get to the free throw line?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, we know why, because his team will do whatever they have to do to foul you.
Because Sean Miller says his team has a way about fouling.
Oh, yes, they have a way about fouling. Yes, they do.
Here it is.
And we knew before we came that we were going to have to be able to defend without fouling, and we really have a way of fouling. There's no doubt about that.
They really do.
We have a way of fouling.
They didn't. They're coming off their best fouling performance, if you will, of the season. Only 11 in the entire game against Oklahoma. I mean, they've had halves with more than 11 fouls this year.
Oh, my goodness.
They only gave up 16 free throws. Yeah, South Carolina, they are 163rd in the country in terms of getting to the free throw line.
Yeah, so we should have a night where they get to the free throw line maybe 11 times. That's it.
That'd be nice. Look, if you get to 16, which is what OU was, that's fine. Problem is when you get to 30 plus, like,
wow.
Yeah, Auburn did and Kentucky did, and obviously those inspired the great rants that we got from head coach Sean Miller. Which
he's got a few more in him. It's a long season.
Hopefully not this week.
No, not this week.
That's like the silver lining if Texas loses a basketball game. It's, you might get something golden from Sean Miller in the post-game presser. But I want to save that for some of the tougher games. Like Texas has to play Florida, the defending champs, who I think is the best team. Texas has to play Arkansas, who's one of the better teams in the league. Like I don't want to use these great moments on
South Carolina. Yeah,
Ole Miss. Definitely not on Chris Beard. I don't want to be talking about a loss to that guy.
No, I agree.
So we'll see. Tonight, Texas back in action. More defending without fouling, please. Take care of business. By the way, for those of you bracketologists out there, Joe Lenardi currently has Texas as the very last team in the field.
The very last one?
The very last one. Now, I'm constantly looking at brackets this time of year. I do that in December because I'm a loser and I need a life. But about 50% of the brackets that I've looked at have Texas in. The other 50% have Texas out. Like, you could not be more on the bubble than what the Longhorns are right now, Buck.
So they can't afford to lose to these two teams.
No, either one of these, again, would be a bad loss. Now, you don't want to call them must wins because technically you could lose these. Technically, Texas could lose every game in the regular season. And as long as they won the SEC tournament, they would still be in the dance. So I like to refrain from using must win when we're talking about college basketball. But again, you're trying to build a resume.
It'd be nice to win.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Nice to win, hate to lose.
Hate to lose, yes.
Kind of games. Like, you're not going to move up a bunch with a win tonight, but if you lose tonight, you
sure can't go down a bunch.
You'll go down. Yeah, the highest I've seen Texas on any bracket is a 9 seed, which is like safely in the dance. I hope the committee follows that one. And then again, there are plenty out there that don't have Texas in at all. So to say there's
we also know how committees can be.
Oh, yeah. Please tell me it's not the same people running this one as the college.
But hey, we know how committees can be.
Oh, yeah, the Longhorns already got robbed by one committee this academic year. Can we ensure that that doesn't happen again, please?
Yeah, win these games. Don't make these close games. Make these fun games.
Yeah, you'd like to take as much out of the committee's hands as you possibly can.
Yes, you would.
Be nice. So Texas and South Carolina tonight. Again, the Longhorns 13.5-point favorites. A game that you'll be able to hear right here on the Zone at 6 o'clock tip-off, 5:30 pregame as well. All right, let's shift gears here. We've got some NFL to get into. By the way, just got confirmation that Quan Cosby is going to be joining us at 10 o'clock. This morning. So we'll chop it up with the legendary lifetime Longhorn. We got some Texas football to get into, some NFL conversation to discuss. And Buck, at some point before we get out of here, maybe the wildest / nastiest / grossest headline we've ever had.
Okay.
And this one's not going on the radio, by the way. We're going to have to keep
this
for the 9 to 11.
Sorry about that, folks.
Oh, man. But before we get to any of those, how about our first round of sponsor shout-outs?
Folks, our friends at Relax Back embrace a holistic approach for a healthier lifestyle based on 35 years of proven expertise. And once again, my back couldn't be happier. On that little back pain today after my workout yesterday, after our new time slot, get out there and overdid it, and my back is sore. But I'm in my Relax the Back chair right now in the comforts of this great chair that I had for over 20 years, and my back feels fantastic. You can help yourself out too. Tempur-Pedic mattresses, pillows, the whole works over Relax Backs. All the accessories that you need at 2 locations, at the Hill Country Galleria across from Whole Foods, and in North Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center right across the street from the Container Store. Live pain-free like the Buck at Relax the Back.
Yes, indeed. Love Relax the Back. Also love audio-visual consultations. 512-255-8678. Going to give you their number right off the bat. If you want to upgrade your home TV setup, you got to call Tom McKay and his great team. They will take care of you. So many great sports happenings coming up. The Olympics get going this weekend. Obviously, the Super Bowl on Sunday. Texas softball back this weekend. Texas baseball back. And before you know it, the NCAA tournament will be here. And I know our man Tom McKay would be mad if I didn't mention something about hockey. Oh, yeah. Obviously, Olympic hockey is going to be great. But
yes,
the hockey postseason will be here before you know it. Nice win for the Dallas Stars last night in overtime against the Losapeg Jets. Whatever sport you want to watch, you can watch them all from the comfort of your own home with that custom TV setup from AV Consultations. If you want 4 screens on one wall like I have, if you want the big 85-incher like the Buck has, if you want a home theater room, if you want a patio setup, avconsultations.com. That's the place to go. Or again, make the call. 512-255-8678 for audio-visual consultations.
Our friends over at Sue Patrick, who has tons of Texas-themed gifts, items, books, and a whole wide variety of men's and women's clothing. Got my little polo on today. Looking good. I love this one. We've got numerous ones that are really designed sort of like this in all kinds of colors, folks. And if you go over there, 5222 Burn Road, you'll find that. You'll find the hats that you're looking for, and you'll find plenty of parking space available just for you at Sue Patrick's. Of course, any online orders, $59 or more, free curbside pickup. And as I said, plenty of parking space. And don't forget the Jelly Cats. The 2026 Jelly Cats are out, BK. You need to go over there and start getting your collection ready. Sort of like I've got my collection. All that happens at Sue Patrick or SuePatrick.com, folks.
I don't have a Jelly Cat collection.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh, it's just my granddaughters that have that. I'm sorry.
No. It's you. You always act like you gift your granddaughters the Jelly Cats, but really that's what they get you for every birthday and Christmas.
I love it. When you go over there to the big taco, folks, that's the couch. There's a couple of Jelly Cats that are sitting there watching the big 85-inch screen TV while I do my work over here. They're not looking at me. They're looking at TV.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of Jelly Cats and that little Derek Jeter action figure all hanging out together. That's classic toys for a 70-year-old man, by the way.
Look at that. You know, baseball season just around the corner. He's starting to warm up a little bit. I found him off of his stand yesterday onto the floor, and I'm wondering if he's starting to get himself geared up for spring ball.
He's starting to warm up for what? Another Jeep commercial?
No, this dude may want to play for the Yankees. They may need him this year.
Well, considering they haven't won a World Series since he left, maybe they could use him.
This is a different year. This is not. We're not like we're not the Rangers.
Well, the Rangers have won a World Series more recently than the Yankees have.
They just haven't won very many. Oh, hey, they have won one.
The last legitimate World Series in baseball won by the Texas Rangers. Remember that. Because what the Dodgers are doing, they're cheating the system. It ain't fair. So we're not counting either of their two. Sorry, Craig Way. We're talking about real legitimate champions here. That's what the Texas Rangers are.
With mostly American players, is that what we're saying?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Hey, that's the guy who won MVP, Corey Seager, American
player. There you go. There you go.
He's still on the squad. I don't know about mostly American players, though. The Walker, Texas.
They have a variety. They have a variety of American players on their team. It's all right.
They do have a variety of American players.
Sort of like my Yankees.
Sort of like your Yankees. Yeah. Yeah, your Yankees do have the second best odds to win the World Series this year.
Why? I don't get that.
Well, you think you should be first?
Yes, of course I think we should be first. In front of the Dodgers.
You guys aren't even close to the Dodgers.
Is anybody close to are the Braves close to the Dodgers? Are the Phillies close to the Dodgers this year?
Astros, Braves, Rangers,
None of
Yankees,
them?
insert team here.
Oh,
And the Blue Jays, who, of course, lost to the Dodgers in the World Series. No,
no.
not even close. Not even close.
No, Blue Jays had their year. We'll see them in about 3 more years now.
It's very rare we use the David versus Goliath metaphor when it's like not just 1 versus 1. It feels like David versus Goliath, 1 versus 31. You know, like Tiger versus the field, those conversations. It's Dodgers versus the field in baseball right now. So who you got? I feel like the Dodgers is the smart play.
I think I would take the Dodgers. I'd lay the money on the Dodgers before I take the field. As of this time, I would still take the Dodgers.
I think I probably would too.
I don't think their run's over with.
No, that's a scary thought. Well, they got better because they added the former Astro Kyle Tucker this offseason. And, I mean, they added 2 or 3 more pieces. Like they had the best team, and they had a better offseason than anybody else. So that's good.
But that's not right. That doesn't seem right.
That's right for them. That's about it.
It's like getting ready to watch the Patriots back in the Super Bowl again. It just hasn't been long enough. Why are they back? Why are the Browns not back? They weren't ever there.
I was going to say, back from what? You know, people always say, like, I shouldn't say people always say, but one of the arguments against Bill Belichick being a first ballot Hall of Famer was that, well, he didn't win anything when he wasn't with Tom Brady. And I'm thinking that guy was able to win playoff games in Cleveland. Yes. Like, I know he didn't win a Super Bowl. I know he didn't get to a Super Bowl. He didn't win a championship without Tom Brady, of course. But, like, that guy was able to win playoff games for the Browns. That has to mean something.
It does.
Because they have not been doing a lot of that since he left. So, I don't know.
They compound that with not getting Mr. Kraft in there. That's kind of nuts, too. What is up with the voting deal?
I was hoping for a happy ending for that story.
Yeah, I mean, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. We'll talk about that. We got some sound from Roger Goodell we'll get to in hour 2 talking about the NFL not having anything to do with the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the way that they vote. But, yeah, that story dropped early this morning that not only is Bill Belichick not getting in the Hall on his first opportunity, but Patriots owner Robert Kraft, who has won a Super Bowl since Belichick left and is back in the Super Bowl again, he also did not make it on his first try. So,
amazing.
Very flawed system. All right. How about this, Buck? A little Longhorn football conversation here. This is a good one. From the Austin American-Statesman. You familiar with their work?
I am. You know, I used to get that paper. I don't get it anymore. I don't stop off at Hashish at 7-Eleven. I used to get that when I went into the studios for radio. When I got up early in the morning and went in, I'd get that and actually read that. I haven't read that in months and months and months. And am I missing something? No. Just tell me, yes, you're missing something.
I mean, I'm not a daily Statesman guy by any stretch, but I do look at the sports section online.
Okay.
And I do look to see if they have any compelling articles that would make for good content for our show. But I couldn't tell you the last time I've gone out and bought a copy of that paper or any paper. Because
I can see you being a New York Times guy on a Sunday.
Well, you could.
Yeah, for like $12 a copy.
Yeah, you could.
No, I couldn't now.
Yeah, I'm not spending $12 on anything these days. Yeah, no, I don't want to get the Austin American-Statesman because they're going to tell me about Texas's win over Alabama in basketball 3 weeks ago. That's going to be in today's paper.
Yeah, it's a little bit behind schedule. That's the thing that bothered me.
I don't know if I need to read about the Texans losing to the Patriots. All right. Like that was a while ago. Now the Statesman does great work and we've got a lot of friends over there. And this is a good article here. 5 areas that Texas must improve if they want to win a national championship in 2026. And the research, David Eckert is the writer of this story. It's not just, okay, here are the things. It's here are the things, plus look at recent national champions in college football. Here's how good they were at that. And here's how bad Texas was at that in 2025. So the very first stat that they mentioned, Buck, and this is one you and I have talked about ad nauseum on this show for a long, long time, rushing efficiency.
Yes.
You don't need Herschel Walker back there. You don't need Ricky Williams back there, but you have to have some semblance of a run game.
Yep.
Each of the last 9 national champions have averaged at least 4.5 yards per carry as a team. 6 of the last 9 national champs have averaged at least 5 yards per rush. Texas in 2025, about 4.19.
Ooh.
Not very close. And of course, it was the worst run game that Sark has had in his 5 years in Austin. But like, Texas wasn't even nearly good enough in that stat to be competing for a championship.
Wow.
That's why, again, we've talked about it as often as we have. That's the number one thing that Texas needed to fix in this offseason. They went out and got 2 first team all conference running backs, Hollywood Smothers, first team all ACC at NC State, Raleek Brown, first team all Big 12 at Arizona State. It's clear that they realize the importance of having a more efficient and effective ground game, and the stats back it up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no doubt about that. That had to be number one. You know, we had talked about penalties, linemen. Forget it. You have to your rushing efficiency, no matter what it is. If it's the line, if it's the running backs, if it's the penalties, that has to be fixed. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and obviously, like you said, it goes to the offensive line too. In Texas, they brought in Melvin Siani from Wake. They brought in Lawrence Seymour from Western Kentucky. They added Dylan Sikorsky from Oregon State. Obviously, the biggest thing that Texas did up front was convincing Trevor Gooseby to stick around for another year.
There's no doubt.
And convincing Connor Robertson to hang around for another year at center. And that guy walked on senior day when the Longhorns beat the Aggies back on Black Friday. So it wasn't a certainty that Connor Robertson was going to return, but Texas was able to get both of them back and obviously had a few more pieces too. So it's all encompassing. Yeah, that run game needs to be really, really good. Think about what Indiana had. They had 2 running backs get near 1,000 yards this year, and they averaged more than 5 yards a carry as a team. Texas didn't even get to 4.2.
Yeah, and they continued to soften up teams that they played with those runners, not only with that offensive line, but those runners punished guys that had to tackle them all game long. You know, bring one in, here comes the next dude. You're going to get hit just as well if you got one-on-one tackles. Those guys punish people for making the tackles.
Yeah, and I misspoke. After the national championship game, both of those Indiana running backs ended up over 1,000 yards.
Wow.
Hemby had 1120 and Black had 1040. They also had their third running back, Kobe Martin, go for more than 500 this past year. And yeah, it's a team that averaged 5.2 yards per carry on the ground.
I was going to say in mop-up duty, but those guys were putting so many points on people. They didn't look like they had guys in there just adding up the points, you know.
You're right. Well, they had mop-up duty in the playoff.
Yeah, that's true.
What they did to Bama in game 1 and then Oregon in game 2. Obviously, the Miami game was a different story, but their first 2 playoff wins were beatdowns to where, yeah, hey, we can actually rest some guys in the fourth quarter here. We're winning by so much.
Yeah, well, they were out to prove a point during the regular season. They left guys and they just hammered people.
They hammered people.
And they didn't care.
So that's what we're looking for Texas to do. So that's stat number 1 that the Longhorns need to address to make a run at a national title. Stat number 2, some of these things kind of go hand in hand with one another. Third down efficiency. You know, third down success is often a snapshot of overall offensive health.
Sure.
First and second down obviously matters because you want to get to more manageable third down distances. Texas this past season, Buck, ranked 74th out of 136 FBS teams in third down conversion rate on offense. They were at 39.2%. College football has not crowned a champion that finished outside the top 40 since 2017. So that is 8 straight national champs in the sport that we love that have all been at least in the top 40 in third down offense. Again, Texas not even in the top 70.
That has a lot to do with run efficiency for sure.
Yeah.
Where the down and distance, it's not like it's not 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s, hell, 3rd and 12s. I mean, you got to have those 3rd and 1s and 3rd and 2s. And hell, you don't even get to a lot of them don't even get to a lot of third downs. They get a first down on the first and second down with some of the runs that they have. Yeah.
You are allowed to do that. And again,
Yeah.
Indiana, the flavor of the month, the most recent national champ, they were number 1 in the country in that stat this year.
What were they like?
56.5%.
Wow.
Which is like video game numbers. You don't need to be that good. Again, top 40 feels like the magic number. It's 8 straight national champs who have been top 40. But obviously, when you're top 1, that really helps. So it just shows that you can be efficient on offense, keep your offense on the field, keep your defense fresh and on the sideline.
They had the Heisman Trophy, but they had a Heisman Trophy type of running back and offensive line. I mean, that whole offense was just pure. I mean, that was pure scoring machine.
Yeah. You need everybody to be efficient as an offense. And like you said, they had it. I mean, the Heisman winning quarterback who's about to be 1-1 in the draft, 2,000-yard backs, great receivers, a veteran offensive line. I mean, look, we all watched Indiana play. There's reasons they were as good as they were. And it doesn't surprise me that some of the stats like this go in their favor. Because the way they were beating some teams down, it's not surprising that, they ran the ball effectively and they were able to move the chains a bunch on third down. It was money.
Yeah, it's like 2nd and 2.
I had a lot of those too. Yeah, a lot of 3rd and shorts. Obviously, you give yourself a much better chance of converting third down when it's 3rd and 1 through 3.
Yes.
Versus, I mean, it felt like Texas had so many 3rd and 8 pluses this year.
Oh, that's what I thought. I mean, that's why I said even in 3rd and 12s and 3rd and 11s, it was, they had a lot of it.
Especially the losses that they had. It just felt like they were behind the 8 ball pretty much all game long in those 3, and that's not a good recipe for success. So that's number 2. Again, Austin American Statesman, 5 statistical areas that Texas must address. Number 3, this is the other one that you and I have been talking about more than anything and anybody else. Penalty yardage.
Everything else you can possibly get away with, you can't get away with this one. You just can't be where they are. Some of those other things you can maybe overcome and escape if you're not in the top 40 or whatever. If you're 57, you can't do this in penalties. You can't be where they are in penalties. You can't overcome those.
Indiana 2nd in the nation in penalties per game. And this is a wild stat that just shows how smart and disciplined the Hoosiers were. They played 16 games in 2025. Right, most teams played 12 or 13. Obviously, some teams played 14 or 15. But they played 16 games. They still finished with fewer penalty yards than all but 7 teams in the country.
Yeah, that's disciplined football. That's not I got better athletes and all that. That's just discipline. That's just, they didn't win every single battle, out of all that. They just are disciplined. They're not going to reach. They're not going to grab. They're not going to jump off sides. They may get beat here or there because nobody plays a perfect game every game, but they played as close to perfect games as anybody played. And when it came to penalties, they just weren't good. They just don't have that. They just say, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to be a bunch of dumbasses. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that to our entire team. You jumping offside costs the entire team. It doesn't just cost the defense. You popping off sides, you jumping the gun on offensive line, that doesn't hurt just the offense. That hurts our defense too. They understand how important that is. And that's something I will definitely be looking at this year, that you can improve that. That's more mental than it is physical.
Yeah, Indiana, again, 2nd best in terms of penalties per game this year. Texas, 2nd worst in the country in terms of that same stat. That's a
huge turnaround, BK, to do that. I got to believe.
And look, you don't have to, like when Ohio State won it all in 2024, they were middle of the pack in the country in penalties.
Sure.
So you don't have to be as great as Indiana was to win a national championship. You just can't be as bad as Texas was.
No, and then have some of those other deficiencies to go along with it? No.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Good comment from our guy Magic Man. As a coach, what can you do? I mean, it obviously annoys Sark. He's not happy that his team commits as many penalties as they do. He knows what you're talking about, how, okay, yeah, an offensive penalty doesn't just hurt the offense. It hurts everybody on the entire team. So what are some things that you did, coaches that you've been around did? How do you actually fix penalties versus just us complaining about
Oh,
it.
well, there's limitations in time now. So, you can't, there's limitations in time when you got to meet after practice, when you got to go to meals and stuff. I've been around, when I was early with Jack Bignell at Boston College and Doug Flutie and stuff, dude, we would start practice all over again. If you jumped and we were having and it was the middle of practice and some offensive lineman jumped maybe twice in a row, somebody jumped and we didn't get the playoff, dude, they would blow the whistle and they would say, line up, let's do stretch. Here we go. We're starting. And we'd be like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We're going to start practice all. I said, do you know how long practice is? And then it started to get where you can only practice this long. The people at the training table, they couldn't wait for you because you were, behind by 40 minutes. It got to be a lot of running. It got to be a lot of overplays over again and over and over. And then make you do it on air, move to the side. Here's a snap count. You're not going against the defense. Do it on air, get to the back of the line. We start all over. But I've been at practices where you started it over. And believe me, at Illinois, when we did it, we didn't do a lot of it at Illinois because Makovic, we didn't have a lot of penalties because that guy would just lose his mind. He would just become evil John and turn into the devil. But you think about the places where it was cold weather in October and it's sleeting and you're out there at practice and Jeff George is ready to go in and stuff like that, and somebody jumped, and then the coach said, we're starting all over again. Line up for calisthenics. It would be like, you got to be kidding. There's stuff that will make you focus in on what you got to do. Guys hate extra practice time because everybody does. Coaches pretend like, I'd love to get all the practice time I can. Let's stay out another hour. Hell no. By the end of the day, and they knew they were going to be there after dinner, you were coming back to have another 2 hours of meetings with the coaches, preparing game day stuff. No, there's way. And individual coaches were, they had their way of up downs and silly stuff. I didn't have a lot of stuff like guys leaning and, you see running backs that lean and, you get maybe 2 of those in an entire year. You don't have that every game. Some guys leaning or some wide receivers jumping the snap count. We didn't have much of that kind of stuff.
It's not just in the movies or the TV shows. Like discipline is what coaches typically do when their team commits too many penalties.
Yeah, you just do some basic stuff. There's not much. You just, once again, you hold the key to somebody's playing time.
Sure. Yeah, that you do.
That's always the deal. Hey, you're costing us. That next guy, I got to get him ready. By the way, he'll be the starter this week. If he does well, he may be the starter the following week. Things like that, or a kid that you've given something specific. This is how you get in the game. But you keep doing this. You keep dropping balls, Wingo. And this particular play that we like to get to you, that quick screen you like so much, we may hurt our team, but you may not get 3 of those in the game. Things like that. Those are things that individual coaches and players have to take it upon themselves. It's more of an individual thing. But the best, like I said, I've ever been when I was with Jack Bignell in my early years of coaching, it was like, we're starting practice all over again. I got to go through the same thing here that I did 45 minutes ago. Yeah, these penalties are stupid.
Yeah, whatever Sark has been doing is not working. He's got to change it up.
Like I said, we're not at practice, so we don't see. He may be doing things that
I don't care what he's been doing. It's not working.
I agree.
Whatever he did last year, you're second to last in the sports. In penalty, it's hard enough to go up against an SEC schedule with Ohio State and the non-con and beat those teams. It's even harder when, again, you have a gun and you're just pointing it at your foot over and over again.
Well, no matter what it is, that guy makes $12 million a year. And a guy who is now in charge of the offense alone has got a defensive head coach. That will be one of the things I'll be looking at to see, okay, you're making this money. You've had some success. Can you really coach? Can you, people want other guys calling the plays. They doubt you in that way. I know you've done some great things for the program. But my God, can you get rid of the penalties? Can you find a way to get on their rear ends about that? Let's see. You got time to do it now.
Yeah, no, it's infuriating. It is so frustrating to watch as a fan. Your team just, again, constantly beat themselves. Hard enough winning games in this league. Maybe you can get away with that in the Big 12, but in the SEC, now a 9-game conference schedule. And again, another matchup against the Buckeyes coming up this fall. You can't beat teams like that. Look at Texas's 3 losses. They got crushed in the penalty battle in all 3 of those games.
Yeah, see, I don't expect to see that. I don't expect to see that, BK. I know what we've seen, and it's not just last year. This thing is an ongoing deal with this football team. I expect that that's something that the head coach will pay an incredible amount of time to, and whatever they have to do. If they have to go to NFL teams, during their camps, if you have to go to other college teams, you have to talk to coaches all the time here at the National Coaches Convention. What is it you do? I'll be looking for that to change.
Just talk to Nick Saban or Pete Carroll, I mean, Sark's got 2 great mentors.
Right.
Obviously, you can talk to a bunch of other coaches too, but
I guarantee Nick Saban he would be losing his mind.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't think you'd see this happen with a Nick Saban team.
Yeah, and some of it, once you get it going in the right direction, it's just what is expected. It's like it's part of your culture. They have a bad culture when it comes to this part.
Right. It's bad. It's not just a 1-year thing. Again, 2025 was the worst it's been, but they have had penalty problems. Even the 2 years they made the playoff in 23 and 24, it was still more.
Yeah, I mean, I hate harping on it, and I'm going to give him an opportunity because now he's telling us this is what he's going to be doing. This is what he's going to be in charge of now. We'll just see what he does to do it.
Sure.
Because if we're back here talking, we won't be talking about a national championship game or an SEC champion if this stays in that direction. Period.
Kept Texas out of the playoffs and not even close to a national championship. So 2 more of these. Again, if you're just joining us, Austin American Statesman, 5 stats that Texas must address to make a run at a national title in 2026. This one, another pretty obvious one, pressure rate allowed. On average, the last 6 national championship quarterbacks have been pressured on roughly 25% of their dropbacks. Arch Manning in 2025 pressured on 35.6%.
Yeah, there were individuals that got beat during the time when they were struggling to find guards and who's going to play center. They're always looking for a new center at Texas. It just seems that way. We want a better center, but they always have one that's adequate enough. They have had those pressures are just individuals that mess up. I don't think it's the scheme. I don't think they've gotten beat a lot scheme-wise. I just think individuals get beat. And they had a lot of it early. And whether it was the lack of experience by the quarterback, not getting rid of the ball in time or not, hitting an open receiver or something, maybe part of that may be part of it. But you're right. The pressures have to stop. And they did kind of stop towards the end. You know why? Because the quarterback took off and said, "Bye, y'all."
Yeah, I mean, it got better once the offensive line shifted around and you put Cole Hudson at left guard and Connor Robertson at center. But still, the Georgia game, I always bring that up,
because that's always going to be to win a championship there.
Exactly. So yeah, you look at just like the final 6-7 games of the year. Sorry about that. Yes, the offensive line was a lot better, and some of those pressure numbers went down. Texas started racking up a bunch of wins, but the Georgia game, like the best team that you played, the team that you're going to have to beat to win championships,
right?
They lived in your backfield.
Yes, absolutely. Whether it was the run or the pass.
Yeah, so that can't happen. Pressure rate, again, the last 6 national champions on average, 25% pressure rate on their dropbacks. Arch Manning was over 35%. No champion since Jameis Winston in 2013. Before the playoff even got here, there hasn't been a quarterback who's faced as much pressure as Arch Manning faced and won the national title.
Yeah, when you talk national titles, you just look at the offensive line play of some of the teams that just have gotten into playoffs. I mean, it wasn't just Indiana. Look at offensive play by Miami. I mean, they don't let you mess around with their quarterback. They don't do it. That's a no.
Right. It's that simple. So that's something that Texas has to address. And then last but not least, trying to send a tweet about Quan Cosby. Hang on here. Last but not least, the defensive red zone stop rates. So most of what we talked about has been offense. Obviously, penalties are all encompassing, but defensive red zone stop rate has been, a clear marker of elite teams in recent years. Yeah. Each of the last 5 national champions has ranked among the top 5 nationally in preventing touchdowns.
You don't see guys wide open. You don't see guys zooming by guys down in the scoring zone. They make you have to work for everything. They give you 3 points here or there. You'll have to earn a touchdown. You just don't see guys just beating guys one-on-ones.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana They only allowed touchdowns on 37% of red zone trips. Ohio State was at 42%. And this is one of the things where the Texas defense slipped big time. And maybe part of the reason why Pete Kwiatkowski is no longer here. Texas gave up touchdowns on 62.2% of their opponent red zone possessions. In Indiana,
that's not scoring, that's touchdowns.
That's touchdowns. Yeah, that's bad. I mean, a lot of people just look at like red zone percentage as touchdown and field goals.
Right.
But touchdowns are the backbreakers. You can live with 3 a lot when you let a team get into the red zone. Indiana, Ohio State, a lot of recent national champs have been very good at that. Texas, 62.2% of red zone trips by their opponents turned into touchdowns. Not good.
Wow. Nope, you got to fix that one.
Yeah.
And the secondary at that later in the season just didn't play that well.
No, they didn't. The pass defense, I mean, you think of the Mississippi State game. I know that's a game the Longhorns won, but they gave up 40-plus points. I mean, Blake Shapen was able to do whatever he wanted against this secondary. A couple of other instances where it's just, it's tough to watch. So obviously some coaching changes made. Not only is Pete Kwiatkowski no longer with us, but Blake Gideon is back. Obviously, Dwayne Aquina got let go after 1 year on his return to Texas. So they made some changes. Clearly, Sark was not happy about that. And yeah, bend, don't break. That was what Pete Kwiatkowski's defenses were all about.
Right.
And
absolutely.
they broke more in 2025 than they did in 2023 and 2024.
And once again, that's where when your offense is doing the things that they're doing, their inefficiencies, that's what hurts you when your group is giving up 60% and your group gets down there and they're jumping off sides and moving backwards and kicking field goals instead of making touchdowns.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. So there you go. The 5 stats that Texas needs to address to win a national championship next year. A good article there. Rushing efficiency, third down efficiency, penalty yardage, pressure rate allowed on offense, and the defensive red zone stop rates.
And my number 1 will be penalty yardage. I'll be looking at that because that's the one that we've been harping on, and that's the one that I look at when the head coach lets me know that he's got more time to hang with his group and not be calling defensive plays or whatever he allegedly was doing. I would like to see that change. Like you said, I'd like to see it just get to mid-pack at least. Try to do that.
That'd be a huge win.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
I mean, the Longhorns were 135. If they can be 75 this year, that's a massive step in the right direction.
That seems high, and that still seems high for a team to take the championship.
We're not asking for much, are we?
No, I mean, I don't think that's asking. I mean, you got some veterans even from other places that are coming in there. That shouldn't be. That shouldn't be on the offense. And the group that had it mostly, which generally happens, is the offensive line and the defensive line. So that's a part of their deal. That's the luggage that they carry. But offensively,
Texas, it was the offensive line and Warren Roberson on special teams. Number 24.
Yes.
That's who did it for us.
Yeah, you just can't have jumpy players. I think if you have, like you said, and I think when we talked about transfer portals, fix that offensive line, get in the transfer portal, battle with everybody for what you need in the transfer portal. I don't know if Texas got it. That's yet to be seen, but that's a problem that has to be fixed. You have to have guys with experience, guys that aren't fidgety and jumpy and understand the snap counts. And hell, they had just as many penalties when they played at home. It wasn't like a road thing.
You're right.
It wasn't like when they got on the road, they got nervous. They got nervous at home.
They did. Yes, they did. All right, we'll get Quan Cosby's thoughts on this. We'll talk plenty of Texas football with the legendary lifetime Longhorn and 2005 national champion here in a few minutes. But before we chop it up with Quan, how about another round of sponsor shout-outs?
Say to our friends over at Woods Comfort Systems, it's close to 70 degrees today, folks. I know it's cloudy, doesn't seem like much, but it's going to be in the 70s here today. And if your air conditioning is not working, that can be kind of nasty at your house. You don't want that to happen. So calling our friends at Woods Comfort Systems, make sure that air conditioning is working properly. But it ain't over with. I didn't call for an end to winter, so winter's still just around the corner. Any day you could get into the 30s, and you need that heater to work, and they will be there for you also there. 70 years of service in Central Texas when it comes to air conditioning and heating. And now they do plumbing. If you're in plumbing, if you have a problem with plumbing inside or outside of your home, please call in the folks at Woods Comfort Systems to get it done. 70 years, and nobody does it better.
Nobody does it better. WoodsComfortSystems.com, 512-842-5066 is the phone number to call. And yeah, shout out to them. Also, a shout out to McCall Custom Homes as well. If you're looking to upgrade your home here in 2026, new kitchen, new bathroom, you want to add some new life to your outdoor space, McCall Custom Homes can do it for you. They're the best in the business, A+ rated by the BBB, tons of 5-star reviews online. They've done work at Bucky's house, and they can do work for you as well. Great people, big-time Longhorn fans, big supporters of this show and every version of this show. All you have to do is reach out to them. McCall Custom Homes, ATX.com. That is their website. You can learn more about the free estimates that they are offering Bucky and BK listeners right now, or you could give them a call or a text. You can reach out to Mike directly, 512-633-9580. It's McCall Custom Homes. We build value into your home.
Awesome.
Yes, indeed. And also a shout out to our friends at the Altstadt Brewery. Altstadt Beer, the best beer that you could find in the great state of Texas. The Altstadt Brewery
this weekend for Super Bowl. Look out. There'll be folks headed that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, I mean, that's your Super Bowl watch parties coming up. If you're going to be hitting the town, going to your favorite bars or restaurants on Sunday, make sure the Altstadt beer is flowing. Easy to find, available wherever you buy your beer. Also popping up at more and more of your favorite bars and restaurants around the state with good reason. It is a damn good beer. And if you're looking for something to do, how about a trip down to the Altstadt Brewery? Weather's nice. They'll be open tomorrow. They'll be open through the weekend. Get to see how this great beer is made. You get plenty of samples as well.
Oh, yeah.
And also, they've got live music. They've got an outdoor beer garden. They've got a great German-style restaurant serving up all sorts of European cuisine. It's the perfect day trip for the beer drinkers in your life. Planning one of those trips down to Fredericksburg, make sure you add the Altstadt Brewery as a part of your plans. Had a bunch of friends stop by over the last couple of years and talk about the great times that they've had there. You can do the same. It's Altstadt Beer. No impurities, no regrets. Okay, any final thoughts on what we just talked about? Efforting Quan Cosby here. He should be joining us in a moment.
Yeah, I just think that it all comes, when you talk about the third down efficiencies, VK, it's really what you do on first and second down, and your first down runs just have to be better. You just can't get stalemates and get 0 on first or 1.5 yards. You were saying they were getting 4 point, they're averaging 4.1. That's not going to be good enough. I mean, like I said, I don't care if it's not even blocked. You got to give me at least 2.5 yards here or there. Give me something on second down that can I throw it or can I run it again? Well, if you're getting 1 yard on these first down runs and getting smacked in the mouth, you're not this coach is not apt to turn around and do anything but throw a quick screen out there or something. He's not going to turn around and run it again.
No,
he's just not going to do that.
4.19 yards a carry is just not good enough. And again, the staff realized it. They totally revamped their running back room. They brought in some pieces on the offensive line. Obviously, having Arch Manning back there helps the running game too, but you need more consistency from your traditional running backs to get to where we hope this team gets.
Yeah, we don't want to see the quarterback run a lot, but when he does run a lot, he does a good job at it. And I think in a year where this is probably his final year here, you're going to see him take off. He's not going to talk about being in the Heisman Trophy race himself, but he knows some of the things that he'll have to do. He knows the deficiencies of his offense. He's been in it now for a year. He's known when he's had to run for his life. I think you'll see him take off and do some things that we may be holding our breath a lot more even this year.
No
but
doubt.
you hope he's more secure back there throwing the ball, which he will be, just the experience of that. But I think some of the timing where you see that guy take off, like where you see Drake May take off with the New England Patriots, he's just going to say, oh, hell, this is 14 easy yards. I don't even have to chuck it. There's nobody there. Everybody has their back to me. I think you'll see him do a lot more of that this year.
Drake May's a statue compared to Arch Manning. Don't make that comparison, sir. Come on.
I mean, I watch him, and when it comes to NFL running, that guy's not bad. That guy moves the chains.
All right, let's bring on a legendary lifetime Longhorn here. Member of the Longhorn Hall of Honor, national champion, just a great guy as well. The legendary Quan Cosby joining us here on Bucky and BK. Quan, it's good to see you, man. How are you?
What's up, homies? How y'all been? Been good.
Doing fantastic, man.
Doing fantastic. What about you, man? You got the office set up going today.
Yeah, I'm in the day job. You know, it's funny. It's so funny how many people don't realize I have a day job. They think my job is to work at Texas, which, by the way, takes a lot of my time as well. But yeah, no, in the day job, in the office, have a little burnt orange in here. I make sure we have too many Aggies, so I got to put my Longhorn stuff in here. So, no, man, it's been good. Good start to the year. It's been busy between UT stuff and portal and life, and so I'm fired up. It was a long season last year, even though it was shorter than the previous two. It was just long, you know, the crazy games, the overtime stuff, the good fight. We kicked our rivals' butt, so it was and then the portal season happened, and good baby Jesus, that was a long season in itself, but
Yes.
Unfortunately it ended up, you know, picking itself up, and Sark and that crew killed it, and we got some dudes, so it's gonna be. I'm fired up for what's to come in 26.
And what you saw in 25, Quan, that you know, when the beginning of the season, such high expectations, not only for the team but the quarterback. When you know you've had experiences in NFL football, you've had it in Major League Baseball. There's a certain experience that you need to have in order. When you don't have a lot of experience, you have to have those experiences, good, bad. People saying bad things about you, people saying, I don't know if he can make it. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but you need to have those experiences. What did you think of this season for Arch Manning and this football team in general?
Oh man, Bucky, that's it, dude. It's so funny because he's a Manning. We saw him in those games the year before. He looked pretty damn good in those games. But
Yes.
it's so different when you come in relief versus, you know, them game planning for you. And then not only that, you lost, you know, what, 2 or 3 NFL linemen on that team versus the unknown. So we didn't know what Arch would be as kind of the starter, full-time starter. We also had really, and Gooseby had a little bit of time, but in reality, 5 new people, you know, blocking for him, and it took half the freaking season to get that aligned,
Yeah.
right? And then unfortunately, in running back, you know, my man gets hurt again. So that was a big deal. Now Weisner held his own, but you know, it's so much crap happened, right? You know, it just so much stuff happened, and it was an insane kind of off season for I think the coaching staff, and it carried on to what the unknowns. The process, because of him being a Manning and starting number 1, which if they start this year number 1, I'll go, okay, it makes sense. We have a lot returning. We had a great portal deal. Starting that last year, I was like, no, people. I said, this is not good. I don't think we're there yet. And I knew there was going to be some growing pains. And I was also fortunate enough to go by practice and go, you know, Arch is going to be good. He has the tools, but that defense got a few picks at the ones I went to. And so I was like, I understand the process. So my expectations were in a little bit different, you know, kind of place. But what we saw those last few weeks is why the hype train is going to be times 5 billion this year. And after getting Coleman and a few pieces, the running backs, Hollywood, you name it. Now it's bleep or get off the pot year versus last, in my opinion.
Yeah. Quan, want to get your thoughts on the Texas wide receiver room. Obviously, you were a part of a tremendous duo at Texas with Jordan Shipley and the Longhorns now. They've got Ryan Wingo coming back for another year. They go out in the portal and get Cam Coleman, the top-ranked wide receiver, one of the top-ranked players overall who was available. Your thoughts on Cam Coleman? I'm sure you've watched some film. I'm sure you've talked to some people about him, and just your expectations for some of the skill position guys that Arch Manning is going to be throwing it to this fall.
Dude, I mean, one thing I know when I was, you know, sitting back and listening to you guys talk about the O-line, that's one thing we've addressed. So I wouldn't be mad if we got one more guard, but I do think what we saw with the guys by the end of the year, how they block way better, especially versus, you know, again, pretty good competition in Vanderbilt and A&M and all of those folks, NFL D linemen. And then adding the pieces that we did, the portal was crazy, man. It was such a weird deal. And in my opinion, I think there was a time where Sark didn't want to be in the portal like he has, but Indiana showed you getting that experience matters, right? And they had a hell of a year because of that experience. And so between that, fast forwarding to, because I always start, receivers don't mean crap if you don't block, because you're not going to have time to get it to them. But then you get Coleman. I have watched film, and Coleman's, there's a lot of things good about him. It's that play that may not be even the best throw or play or decision that Coleman makes right is what, in my opinion, is he's going to differentiate. Between him and the other pieces that we've grabbed, Wingo coming back, Coleman being there makes Wingo better. Ultimately, it takes some of the pressure off of him. And then very similar to your comparison, they're very different because Muschamp, who, of course, back on campus too, called me and, Chip little people. He said a different word, but we're going to politically correct, say little people. But but he also had the utmost respect because it was really hard to double either one of us. You had to really kind of, it made the defense play a little bit differently. You double Chip, I probably had 100 yards that game. You double me, he had 100 yards, and vice versa. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And then you have, if Mosley comes back healthy, holy cow. I mean, we truly, and I think Ohio State's kind of owned this for a little while. We have an Ohio State level kind of receiver room, in my opinion, with those three. And even with Jeremiah Smith coming back over there, I think collectively as a group, and we have one of the best receiver rooms in the country. And experience, Manning and what you saw from him, certainly the last, later half of the season. So I think we're going to have one. My worry is, Sark, you got some insane toys. How do you keep within yourself to just utilize it, spread it around, make people happy, but win? And I think we have that special. I would put our receiver room against anyone in the country. And quite frankly, I think it might finally be one of the best, if not the best one.
Quan, we talked the other day about this defense, and Coach Boom, you know about what he brings to the table, what kind of man he is, what kind of coach he is. I mean, people respect the hell out of him. Over the last 3 years doing when we were Texas Sports Unfiltered with BK, I said, I don't know how many years this team can possibly stay at the level they have on the defensive line. They paid attention to it. When PK was here, they paid that. They had to have big people. They had to have strong physical people against the run. And now they're going into another year. And I'm thinking, is Texas just at that point just expected, and even expected even more with this defensive coordinator that is back with Texas? Because every year you can't have this great defensive line. Now you can have, you can ship pieces in offensive line wise, get a guard that won't be great, but you better have pretty good tackles. But it just seems like the defensive line has seemed to find a way for 3 straight years, Quan, to do this. That's hard to do. What's your expectations with Coach Boom? Even better?
Dude, it really is. I mean, I was fortunate enough to I know that viral clip where he's, hitting the board. Hell, you can't see me. I'm out of the screen, but I'm right over there. And I remember during halftimes, Coach Kennedy was like, listen, Coach, we love you, but we know what we're doing. I'm freaking 25 years old. Chip's 23. We're grown. We want to go hear Coach Muschamp talk so we can run through a wall for him. And ultimately, yes, he went crazy in the way he does it. But if you notice during that same clip, he's talking about your responsibility. He goes, do your bleeping job. And that's what's, I think, and I digress. PK, in my opinion, I actually think he did a decent job. PK had a top 5 defense. He had, and even last year, I know people were tough on him, but we don't go 10-3 if our defense don't hold us in the first half, because we were god awful on offense. I mean, we really were. And in that development kind of phase that we were trying to get, things done. And so I think PK did a good job. Utmost respect, appreciate his time as a Longhorn. But from a cultural standpoint, PK is mellow. Where, quite frankly, for the most part, Sark is that on game day. I know he gets fired up, and I've seen him competitive. Muschamp culturally is a different monster. Muschamp is what you see Kirby Smart, and it drives me crazy. I want to freaking drop kick Kirby when I see him on the sideline, but I also respect the hell out of him because they respond. And again, I'm going back to Muschamp being there. I'm on the offensive side of the ball, but we're going over there, and we responded even offensively to what Muschamp did. Yeah. So I think collectively with, Sark calling plays on offense, doing what he did. And then there's an interesting piece of trust. That's Sark talked a lot about that in his presser when he said, I'm going to go get, Will and Coach Muschamp. And then some crazy deal. I think there's some things going on as well over at Georgia Tech, but smartly Blake Gideon got back. Our defense was really good when he was there. And for him to come back to add to Muschamp's kind of staff, I just think there's a lot of pieces in place. There's a lot of trust, whether it's recruiting, coaching, development, and all the above. That back end is going to be really strong. On defense, to your point about what we are on the defensive line, they are loaded. Snoop, the Hero came back. We know what Simmons is. We're losing, of course, an Anthony Hill, which is a massive loss. But I think they've done well. The guy from Pitt, size-wise, is interesting. I was talking to, him very well, Brian Jones, yesterday, Sunday at the women's basketball game. Kudos for them kicking OU's butt. But we was talking to BJ, and he said, man, size is interesting, but the guy's just always around the ball. Yeah. And he's just a ball player. So I have a lot of high hopes for what the defense is going to do. And more than anything, I think we actually did a decent job of complimentary ball last year. But because the offense will be better early on, I think it's going to make the defense that much better. So I'm fired up about it. I truly think this is one of the better collective groups we've had since 2010.
That's great. Wow. Legendary lifetime Longhorn Quan Cosby joining us on Bucky and BK. A couple more for you, Quan. We know you've got a bit of a time crunch, but we appreciate you joining us. You were an elite returner too. I don't want people to forget about that. It wasn't just your game as a wide receiver. You were one of the best special teamers that the University of Texas has ever had. I'd love to get your thoughts on Ryan Niblett. Obviously coming off a tremendous season, All-American season, total difference maker. You talk about complimentary football. His returning was a huge part of that complimentary football. What do you like about his game, and what do you think he can provide to this Texas team here in 2026?
Bro, ultimately when, I think Sark's crew and of course, they first got here, Banks, our special team skyrocketed. I was like, this is what we need. This matters. I think we took a little dip, and I think Banks would admit that, whether it's Brandon, whether it's Aubrey, whether it's return game and the cover game. I just think we did last year. I think we got back to where we want to be. We're not there yet, but I think Nip is going to get even better. I think he got absolutely hosed by the SEC, giving old boy at A&M that more than him. I think that's bull crap. I get it. They had a great season and all of that, but what he did and the impact that I think Niblett's returns in the rivalry game, he outplayed him in the A&M game. I think the competition level of when Niblett made those plays in those times alone, that's why he's All-American, not only because of the results, but at the timing he did it, the Red River rivalry was basically clinched by that play. There's another one where we're getting our butts kicked on the road in Mississippi State. He goes and returns the touchdown. That starts the difference. So he's that big. When you're game planning on that level, it affects your special team. And they're kicking it out of bounds. I saw some shanks, with different guys because they didn't want to get it to him. That field position matters at such a level. So, man, every time he gets back there, I'm fired up. I'm glad we have a guy that's, ultimately going back to the complementary aspect of it. Our offense was struggling at that time. And when you can go get a touchdown out of that, or even get the ball on that side of it, kick a field goal, do different things to give your defense a minute to reset, I think it's just huge. So, again, man, we go in this deal and we always kind of dissecting it every year. We're all sad Super Bowls this week and we want football season back. But I actually went into last year with realistic perspectives about the holes and the growth and the things that were unknown. I think it's kind of polar opposite. There's very little gaps on paper from this team, and even in the special teams level. I know we addressed punter and kicker, in the portal as well. We went out and filled holes, and truly, it was cool. It was really good to see between B. Harris, Coach Sark, and all the collective coaches. They pretty much landed 90% of what they were hoping for, but not just landed. They did it in a big way. And then the people they kept, because that's a whole nother crazy world of NIL, is who do you keep? Who do you keep out of the portal? We weirdly had some people go in the portal and come back, And so I just think it was Niblett is a beast, All-American. I think he's going to take it to another level, and he's a weapon. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, as good as that receiving core is in running backs room, Sark have some packages to utilize him on offense as well because he's that good. You have to find ways to get him the ball. Dante Hall, Josh Cribbs, Devin Hester type stuff. Put him out there. He's a problem when he has the ball in his hand.
Well, you got to think about him. I know one thing. You were Niblet before Niblet was Niblet. So I know this. I know your punt returning coach must have screamed at you, and I know you've been screaming at the TV or when you were at the games about him catching the ball. Once he started catching and actually fielding the ball instead of letting it bounce, he was exceptional. He cut off. He made a lot of yardage. Once again, that's a part of experience too. It took him a while, but once he got that down to where he felt comfortable, I can get to this ball, make this catch, and run with it. He was special. But I know you had to have some times when you sat back there and watched and went, "Please catch that ball."
Well, and they play on turf. It drives me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one little bit of nitpicking
deal.
Yeah,
of course.
He's phenomenal when he catches it. But there's probably, and I'm not exaggerating because I nerd out on this stuff, there's 4 football fields of fair catches that he could have made that would have helped the offense as well. I'm dead serious. That ball bounced 25 yards, several times. And that's still a little things. He's still young that he'll get better. He always wants to take it to the house, and that's a phenomenal mindset to have.
Yes.
But from an offensive standpoint, getting a better jump, knowing this, dude, they're not going to kick it to you. So get a little bit better jump on that ball when they do shank it. You can fair catch it and turn it into a 28-yard punt and give Arch and crew even more, opportunity with field position to go get points. And so, yeah, that is something I gave him grace because of his age. And quite frankly, I had no choice because he also returned those and said, "Kiss my butt, I got this." And little things like that about the field position game and complimentary ball that I feel like he's going to just take another step on. And it's funny. We play the game, and I'm a little weird for some. I talk to my boys, and we're all like, "Oh man, they need to do this or not do this," and all that. I don't care. I want every single one of these dudes to break every record we ever had because I don't want it to be another 30 years before we win a natty. I want them to get the rings. I want them to have that experience. I want the whole damn campus to have that experience. I still talk to people that went to school during my time. Most of them are, in business or teachers, and they go, "I remember where I was when I was at this game. I somehow got a ticket." And so I do want that for the Longhorn Nation. So Niblet's going to play a massive role in that. Clearly, you can't talk enough about Arch's development, the O-line, you name it. And, of course, what that defense that I think is going to be SEC ready on every level. And certainly, again, Coach, Boone, Coach, Muschamp, bringing that physicality that I think will help both sides of the ball when it comes to handling what is going to be a pretty damn tough SEC schedule.
That's awesome. Well said, Quan. You got time for one more quick one?
Yes, sir.
I just want to ask you about the baseball team. Former professional baseball player. I know you keep in touch with Texas baseball. Obviously, opening day, one week from Friday. Your thoughts on Jim Schlossnagle and the job that he's done so far?
You're talking about another, CDC. I give him more crap than anybody, and it's a healthy, fun banner now. I was sitting at the ladies' basketball game the other day, and I go, "You little son of a bitch." I said, "I tell you what, Pods, the mood is lit for our girls, and it was awesome." And I know Coach Schaefer loved it, so I got to give him the same props for what he did. Sark is my dude. I think he's going to get it done. I want it for him and their staff, but I'm going to tell you, Schlossnagle is 1B. If Sark's my guy on campus, Schlossnagle is 1B. That dude, I nerd out on sports, and to sit here and hear the way he analytically go after recruiting, what he does for the players, how he gets them to think differently. And it is like sports. I don't know if I can stay porn. I don't watch porn out there, just so we know, but it's sports. It really is from a standpoint of just knowing it. And you got Jonah coming back. He had a little injuries that he was dealing with on the football way, but to see his energy, what he does to that locker room, the arms we got, man, I'm talking a lot about what I believe we're going to do on the football field, but this baseball season can be real. I think it can, if clearly you got to stay healthy, all those different things, but it could be one of those. And we got just such a fun. Listen, I'm a Big 12 dude. I love it. I think we had great times. And when I was in the Big 12, we had teams multiple in the top 15. So it was great. But what I'm seeing, I've always said baseball is what changes the game. Football, it is what it is. But the baseball schedule in the SEC, you will never get an argument from me. It is the Premier League. It is real. It is strap up every single day. And that's what I'm fired up for, because we're going to probably start, I think we're number 3. And there's a bazillion polls, but we're in the top 5 in all of them. And I truly know, what I've heard from Sark. I mean, from Sasnego, he's no BS. He's a realist. Last year, he was like, we'll see. We got a lot of work to do. And I appreciate that. And this year, he's like, let's go, And so he's fired up about it. I will go to as many games as I can, because I think we're going to have one heck of a team. Dylan's coming back healthy. There's a lot of pieces that I think we're going to be better offensively, and I'm fired up. I think they're going to be one heck of a team, and we're going to have a lot of fun at the Dish.
That's awesome. Crazy. That's crazy that the We'll See year was an SEC championship year, Quan. I can't wait to see what.
Isn't that nuts, man? It's going to be real, bro. We'll see, but we won an SEC championship. So their expectations, and that always matter to me, has to be bigger than ours. I know fans, our fan base, I love us to death, but we don't always have realistic ones. Here, we have them, and I think they're going to do everything to prove us right.
Awesome. Well, Quan, this was so much fun, man. Thanks for doing this. Owe you a beer at the Dish this season, but thanks for your time, man, and we'll chop it up again soon.
Welcome, homies. Great job, brother. Talk to you soon. See you.
There he goes. The great, legendary lifetime Longhorn, the Hall of Famer, Quan Cosby, joining us here on Bucky and BK. And I love that mindset, too. I mean, I love a bunch of what he said, but he's like, we want these guys breaking our records. We don't want it to be another 35-year drought between national championships at Texas. It's already been 20 years, and that's longer than anybody wants. But he's like, man, we hope these young guys do stuff that we could do and even better. Man, I love that. Some guys are like, I don't want anybody touching my records. He's like, no, if y'all are breaking our records, that means we're winning championships. So let's keep doing that, please.
Yeah, he's got a lot of faith in Coach Boom, I can tell, and what they're going to do on the defensive side of the ball. And there's no doubt about how he feels about the wide receiver room, the quarterback room, the running back room. The question will be, we have to wait and see when it comes to the offensive line. There's a lot of talk, but you can't really tell until when it's game time with them. So, but he feels pretty good about those other positions, I believe.
Yeah, a lot of confidence there, talking about the football team, talking about the baseball team as well. And cool hearing his breakdown on Ryan Niblett, the job he's done as a punt returner. And it's interesting, last year Texas obviously had some packages where Ryan Niblett was involved with the offense, but felt like it wasn't quite effective. And it kind of felt like opposing teams realized that every time 21 was on the field that he was probably going to get the ball. I like the thought of trying to make him a part of the offense, because we know how much of a difference maker he can be with the ball in his hands. But yeah, the Sark and this coaching staff,
I'm okay with once a game. I'm okay with once a game. I don't want to see him in 4 series in a row where he comes in. No, make them think. Anytime the defense has to think about a guy who comes in the game, if he's going to get it. But most of those times he was getting it. It was like they all 11 guys went straight to him instead of anybody else. I mean, if you use him for a decoy, I'm fine. If you use him and he's successful at it, but I don't want to hurt. I don't want to get that guy hurt that he's not back there returning punts. He's more valuable to me now as a punt returner than a disguised guy or whatever. He just, Devin Hester and those type of guys. I don't know if he has that kind of athletic ability, but I know what kind of ability he has as a returner. So let me get the ball in his hands as many times as I can that way. Yeah. Make that team punt and punt it to him.
Yeah, that's his best skill. That's his best asset for this team. And obviously, if you have Ryan Niblett on offense, that means you're taking Cam Coleman, Ryan Wingo, Emmett Mosley, Hollywood Smothers, Raleek Brown, one of those guys off the field too.
Yeah, and they'll figure it out. And plus, they'll figure it out. Sark will figure it out. The only thing last year was the guy was such a weapon. You wanted, with your offense that was struggling at times, you wanted to try something. And when you gave him the ball, the other guys on the other side, those coaches get paid over there too. They know if he comes in the game, if you've given it to him 3 straight times he was in the game, the 4th time they're still going to go at that dude and make sure nothing happens with it. So every once in a while is not bad, but what he does well is he's a great punt returner. So don't screw that up.
No, I'm with you. And it just shows, there's so many great athletes on this team that Sark can almost grab bag the offense with all of the pieces that he has at his disposal. I didn't even mention Khaleke Lockett and Dale McCutcheon going into their second years. Jermaine Bishop Jr., the superstar freshman athlete coming in from Willis, one of the most productive high school football players the state has ever seen, right? Just named Mr. Texas Football last week. He's coming into the fold too. So it's an embarrassment of riches at the skill positions for Texas on offense. Got the returning starter at quarterback. Offensive line has been improved a little bit in the portal. Like this, again, we talked about it yesterday. 35 points per game. That should be where Texas is at in this 2026 season. They were at 30 this past year. I'd like for them to be at 35 points per game minimum this coming season. It feels like they have everything that they need to be right there.
I agree.
So we'll take your thoughts. Good stuff with Quan Cosby. You can hit us up on the Coda text line 512-222-9328. Call into the show as well. We've got the link pinned to the comment section for those of you tuned in live on YouTube. We will shift gears here, though. We've got some Roger Goodell sound. He held his annual State of the Union in San Francisco yesterday. We've got a pretty hilarious kiss cam video for the people. And again, maybe the wildest headline that we've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
3-year history on this show. And unfortunately, there's an accompanying picture with it too. We'll get to all of those in a moment. But first, how about another round of sponsor shout outs?
To our friends over at Hat Creek Burger Company, because it is Tuesday. Tuesday is golf day for me. That means on the way out to play a little golf since we're a little bit later in the day, I can go ahead and have myself that burger that I'm looking for lunch. And, I fell in love with their chili. Sorry about that, Wendy. You are no longer my chili love anymore. It's all about the Hat Creek Burger Company. Their chili, onions, and, of course, cheese with it. Chili, onion, and cheese. That's what I go for at Hat Creek Burger. But I also go for that double with cheese, those fries, and no milkshake for me today. I have to bypass the milkshake. That's a monthly deal. I can't have a milkshake every time I go. Hey, but it shouldn't stop you folks from going to Hat Creek Burger and have one of their great shakes, fries, and, of course, burgers. Some locations also have, of course, they have breakfast served at Hat Creek Burger starting at 7 a.m. So find your way for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Mom and Dad, you can also enjoy a cocktail there in the evenings. Nobody's like Hat Creek Burger in this area. 25 locations throughout the state of Texas, BK. Started right here in Austin. That's Hat Creek Burger Company.
And it started as a food truck on 6th Street.
Yeah, you were running down there slamming them down.
Oh, yeah.
You probably went there for margaritas.
I was using my fake ID to get in just to get a Hat Creek burger. I didn't even need the drinks. I just wanted one of them burgers.
There you go.
Star Bar back in the day. Love Hat Creek Burger Company. Also, shout out to our friends at SendTexTickets.com. So many great sporting events coming up. Again, Texas baseball will open up the 2026 season 1 week from Friday. Texas softball back in action starting this weekend. Of course, you got a Longhorn basketball game tonight at the Mood. If you want to be at any Texas game, any sport all year round, Centex Tickets has you covered. Plus, concert tickets, comedy shows, Broadway shows, festivals, you name it, any live event coming our way. There's only one place you need to go to find your seat. That is centextickets.com. Don't forget the promo code CENTEX10. You type that in at checkout, and you will get 10% off of any ticket purchase from our great friends at centextickets.com.
Great.
All right, let's get to one of these funny stories here first. We'll save the ridiculous, wild, weird one for the end of the show. But I know we talked yesterday about how long it's been since you've attended a sporting event in person.
Yes.
But are you familiar with the kiss cam?
I am. Yes. People can get themselves in trouble. There's a couple who got themselves in a little bit of hot water last year. Yes. I've never been on a kiss cam before.
A couple that got themselves into some hot water last year.
You know, that group they were both married and they were seen hugging and doing all those antics on the kiss cam.
The Coldplay concert.
Coldplay, yes.
That wasn't even a kiss cam. That was literally just like, oh, we're panning to people in the crowd dancing.
Oh, really?
They caught an affair in 4K.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. The CEO and one of the HR ladies at the company.
HR lady.
Yeah. Didn't feel very HR-like from her.
No.
And I think both of them lost their job. Oh, yeah. Now that wasn't even a kiss cam, but obviously a viral Jumbotron moment at a venue. Coldplay concert. That was great.
Wow.
No, we got the actual kiss cam here. This is at a Pittsburgh Penguins New York Rangers hockey game in Pittsburgh. And I mean, you know what you're supposed to do during the kiss cam, right? Like they give you the instructions. You're supposed to kiss the person you're with.
Yeah, give her a little smooch. You
It's
don't have to
pretty
drop
obvious.
your tongue down her lungs.
No, I always like when they get two people who aren't a couple and they get them, or they get like a brother and sister and they show on the Jumbotron, they're like, no, no. And then you've got the guy in the Alabama hat saying, kiss her, even though it's his sister.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what they would do.
Right, exactly. And that's what they do. Well, the folks in Pittsburgh did something a little bit different on their kiss cam. We got the little clip right here. This is pretty good. There's the pan, and then, oh!
No. There was that. Where was that? In Gobnobblers, Pennsylvania?
This is Pittsburgh, PPG Paints Arena, home of the Penguins, and they do a kiss cam, and instead of, kissing up here, the woman.
She's bobbing for apples?
She's bobbing for apples. Yes, it was the bobbing for apples cam at the Penguins game the other night.
Did a mighty fine job there.
How great is that? And look how quick the broadcast crew or the production crew, they cut away, right? They're doing the kiss cam, and then, literally this goes on for 1 second, and let's get the clapping effects on the Jumbotron.
They did give the clapping effects, didn't they?
I don't know if that was supposed to be a round of applause. That was supposed to be okay, what can we quickly go to get off of this?
I think the round of applause was needed for sure.
I mean, I agree. And the crowd went nuts. I know we've got the sound-free version here, but obviously the other attendees at this game started going crazy.
Oh, I bet you they did. Standing O's.
I mean, this is epic. That's a keeper right there, sir. If you didn't know that your wife or girlfriend or fiance or whatever she was, if you didn't know that she was the one, you get someone who's willing to do something like that.
She's got quite a sense of humor. She's a keeper. You're right.
On a kiss cam, yeah, you better make sure that you keep that one around right there. And that is fantastic stuff.
We'll send her my way.
That's oh.
I like that. That's funny. That's funny right there. That's comedy.
That is comedy. Well, you got to get to a game for that to potentially happen to you.
Oh, no. I would be in such a panic. I'd be crying. I'd be leaving the arena crying.
If you were on the kiss cam?
Like that? Oh, my goodness.
You would be crying if your wife did that to you at a sporting event?
Oh, I'd be like, yeah, that's mine. She's with me.
I was going to say, you'd be like bragging and laughing hysterically.
Oh, look at that dude. That dude with that beard is like, yes.
Got the biggest grin on his face I've ever seen.
Those two have planned that forever. They've been thinking, we've never been on this. And when we're on this, this is what's going to happen. And she's told him, you better be ready for it. And that dude looked like he was ready. He looked like he was ready. He wasn't surprised.
That's an easy one for him.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Convincing her to do something like that is the tough part of the challenge.
Wow.
For the guy, maybe she's like, hey, if we're on the kiss cam, I'm going to do this. He's like, yeah, sure. Awesome.
You go right ahead.
Yeah, whatever you want, sweets. Whatever you want to do. You got it. Oh, man. So that was good. Funny viral moment from the world of hockey the other day. All right. Buck, Super Bowl opening night was last night in Santa Clara. And we talked about this early. I guess one of the big headlines in the world of football that has come out since our last show was that Patriots owner Robert Kraft also did not make the Hall of Fame. We will find out who did make the Hall of Fame on Thursday, but It felt like the two biggest names who were on the ballot did not get voted in. Bob Kraft, just like Bill Belichick's first year on the ballot, they needed 40 of the 50 votes. We don't know how close they got to that 40 number. I don't know if we'll ever find out how close they got to that 40 number, but the two of the three architects, along with Tom Brady, of the Patriots dynasty, one of the best, maybe the best the NFL has ever seen, not into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot.
Yeah, I've just, they're not going to do it to all three of them. We know Brady. That's where the commissioner would have to step in and say, we're not doing this thing with you guys anymore. We're going to be in control of this too. If that were to happen to Brady, because that would be totally ridiculous. But who knows with the way that people are voting. I mean, I would just think the last two guys, were ridiculous. That Robert Kraft should have been in, and so should Bill Belichick. It's not the Hall of Funny or good or well liked. I mean, it's the Hall of Fame for your sport and what you did in the sport. So
Right. If they're keeping Bob Kraft out because of the massage incident, I mean, that's ridiculous. If you're keeping Bill Belichick out because of what he's doing at North Carolina, who he's dating, the way he treated people in the media during his time as head coach, any of those reasons, that's ridiculous. It's not what this is supposed to be about. And again, I mean, two guys who were instrumental to maybe the greatest dynasty in NFL history, not in. I know they'll get in. There's no debate about that, but there's obviously something special. It means a little bit more when you get in on your first try. Both of those guys should have been no-brainers to make it on their first try, and yet they're going to have to wait at least one more year.
It's ridiculous.
Roger Goodell held his annual State of the Union, State of the League press conference, whatever you want to call it, yesterday.
That dude's one of his bosses still.
Yeah, well, here's what he said, because he was asked about Bill Belichick. At the time of this press conference, we did not know about Robert Kraft, so the question was only about Bill Belichick not getting into the Hall of Fame. And here was Roger Goodell talking about that.
So the Pro Football Hall of Fame is not in any way controlled by the NFL. We have no say in the voting process. We don't participate in the voting process. I think you know this, but I want to make sure that the question doesn't lead people to that conclusion. I think it's really an important honor, and it's something that is something that should be done with a lot of clarity, a lot of understanding of what's expected of those voters. I'm not even sure I'm aware of it. I've never been part of that process. Our board does nothing more in the voting other than to approve the leaders of the media that participate in that. And it's a single vote. It's just, will you approve this panel of selectors? So we are not involved in it. Listen, Bill Belichick's record goes without saying. Same with the Patriots and Robert Kraft, who's also a candidate. They are spectacular. They've contributed so much to this game, and I believe they'll be Hall of Famers.
Yeah, and what he's saying is, when you guys are booing me in Pittsburgh at the draft this year, don't boo me because of that. I got nothing to do with that. Yeah, but you're going to boo me anyway and pretend like I had something to do with those guys not getting in. They're just going to boo you because you're the commissioner. That's all.
Maybe I know people get weary of commissioners in sports having too much power, but maybe Roger Goodell should be able to at least talk to the committee about changing their voting process. Because if the system is the problem, then the system is flawed. Like, whatever rules are in place right now, if that is what's keeping Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft out of the Hall of Fame, then they need to be changed. And here's the thing, like college football, we always complain that there's not a commissioner, because it's like, boy, it'd be nice to have somebody who can help fix some of these problems and address some of these issues and make our sport better. The NFL does have this, and Roger Goodell does a lot to make sure. I know not everybody agrees with everything he does. I don't agree with everything he does, but he obviously addresses a lot of big issues that face the league every single year. You have a guy in place who can make some changes to make sure bad things, stupid things like this don't happen to the league.
Right.
I know he's saying the right thing. I know he wants to not have to deal with that, and trust the people who are in charge to run it correctly. But if they're not willing to make a change, yeah, exactly. Like, if they're not willing to come out and say, we are changing the way we do this, then I sure as hell hope Roger Goodell steps in and is like, no, then I'm going to change the way you're doing this.
Yes.
So that's, I get Roger Goodell saying what he said, and he's right. He's not making that up. It's a totally separate entity, but he is the freaking commissioner of the league. He can make some things happen if needed to.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure he could. I'm pretty sure he can get both those guys on the first ballot if he really, really wanted to. He could really make waves for that committee where they wouldn't even have a committee for the Hall of Fame. It would be part of the NFL, the commissioners group, to do that. They would, because people are kind of, that was just those two blows right there. The first one was bad enough. The owner, people don't feel as, they're not as in tune to the owner as they are to the coach, who's one of the greatest coaches of all time. Yeah. Then again, now after you've done that to the, they're thinking, okay, they're doing it to this too. Would they dare do that to Brady? You can't even have that a possibility. and with the knuckleheads that are running it right now, it seems like anything's a possibility.
I'd like to say no, that there's no chance that they leave Brady out, but I don't know. At this point, how can you be so sure?
No, you can't.
I mean, people like Brady a lot more, and I think people will typically side with the player over the coach and definitely over the owner. But
But
I just
there would be so embarrassing for the NFL if that were to happen a third time. I mean,
Oh
that's
my
almost
God.
one where, like you said, the commissioner needs to get involved now so that doesn't happen.
It's already a brutal look for the entire league. I mean, Roger Goodell could say it wasn't me, it wasn't us, it's something else, all he wants, but it ultimately is a bad look, a blemish on the NFL right now.
Right.
And yeah, if Tom Brady doesn't get in on the first try, my goodness, that's insanity. Insanity. So there you go. That was one of the big headlines from yesterday. A couple of other things that Roger Goodell talked about. More international games coming, Buck. We're going to have 9 next year. We had 7 this season, 2 more. How about one in Paris? Or was that France?
Yeah.
And Melbourne, Australia, down under, coming next year. It doesn't do anything.
Surprises me they didn't get one in Tokyo.
Maybe at some point there will be one in Tokyo.
Yeah, there has to be.
Dude, Australia is so far. Like, I mean, it sucks, I'm sure, for these players and coaches going across the pond just to, England or Spain, whatever, in Europe. But
think of all the equipment they got to ship over there, too.
Going to Australia? Like a 20-hour flight from Austin.
Oh.
That's insane. I mean, I'm sure they'll schedule bye weeks around it, but there's a lot that goes into that.
Make them go public transportation so we can see the events that would happen aboard that flight. We'd have some great new video from the airports and airlines if those guys that they didn't get on a charter.
We're making these teams fly commercial. Hey, you got to take Southwest out to
see some of the people that we get to deal with on our videos. Wow, would that be fun?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Watch those guys stuffing people into the bathroom, like taking 3 people in their aisle and taking them and just throwing them in the bathroom and locking them in.
Yeah, not only do you have to fly commercial, but you don't get first class either. We got to put you in economy class with all of us people. Good luck with that. Oh, my God.
They'd have fun with the condom girl.
Oh, yeah. Well, they would have fun with the condom girl. Maybe she'd have some fun with them, too. I don't know.
Yeah, really.
So Paris and Melbourne for the first time. They're going back to Mexico. First time they'll be playing an international game in Mexico City since 2022. And Roger Goodell, he talked about it again. He's talked about this before. His ultimate goal is to play 16 international games every season to get all 32 teams to play outside of the United States.
His goal and the owner's goal.
Yeah, well, it's more money and for the league and more money for the owners. Obviously, it increases the worldwide popularity of the sports. And you see why Roger Goodell is doing it. I'm sure the players aren't super thrilled with it, but
no.
At the end of the day, the money that the league makes, a lot of it goes in their pockets.
That's right.
The big reason why the salary cap goes up every year is because of decisions like this. So
now they played in Spain last year, did they not? They were in Spain, I believe.
Yep, they'll be back in Spain, a few more in England. I mean, a lot of the usual suspects, but again, Mexico coming back and then Paris and Melbourne being added. Wow. Those are sort of the headliners there. We'll see if the Cowboys or Texans end up in one of these international games. I know the Cowboys, like Mexico City would be great, but I could see the league saying, nah, the Cowboys already have a bunch of Mexican fans.
You got a pretty good fan base as it is.
Yeah, let's try to grow your fan base in England or Australia or France or somewhere like that. We will see. I'm sure Arizona wants the Mexico game. I'm sure San Francisco wants the Mexico game. Houston wants the Mexico game. We'll see. Only one team is going to get a home game. I guess 2 teams will get the game down there. But, we'll see if the Cowboys end up having to go play overseas.
Boy, Australia sounds like an interesting place. I was thinking, but you said 20 hours in the plane?
Yeah, it's a flight that I have not ever been on, but I have some friends who recently made the trip. They honeymooned out there.
Ooh.
And it was, they spent 2 weeks there because it's such a long flight, such a pain in the ass to get to. Yeah, like you can't just go there for a football game and then I'll come back. It's like, no, you got to spend days
I'm
there.
gonna be at work on Monday. Let me get back to work Monday.
Right. To get your body adjusted to the time change and the jet lag and all that stuff. Dude, I have not been on a flight anywhere close to that long in my life. So yeah, so 2 teams will have to deal with it. And that's about as far as you could go, I think. So unless they're going to play in Antarctica at some point, which
Hey, we may play in Greenland.
may play in Greenland. Do we own that yet?
No, but by the time we get to it, we will.
Okay. All right. Play in
Maybe
Greenland.
we should start a hockey game at first.
There's a little
Seems to
cold
make
out
more
there.
sense.
Yeah, it probably would make more sense. All these outdoor hockey games coming on, just put one of those over there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That'll work. That'll work. So you had that. Also, Roger Goodell said the league needs to reevaluate its approach to minority hiring. About 10 coaching changes in the NFL. Only one hire was a minority hire. None were black head coaches. Robert Saleh, the only minority guy to get hired.
Sorry, bro.
None of the 10 coaches were brothers.
Don't worry, there'll be more next year.
Goodell said we need to continue to make progress. I believe that diversity is good for us. I think we have become a more diverse league across every platform, including coaching, but we still have more work to do. End quote.
Yeah, I mean, Tomlin leaving hurts because that brother was in there for 100 years. So
yeah, and then they brought in Mike McCarthy, which it's like I don't want to be too critical of teams not hiring minority coaches, but when you go hire Mike McCarthy, so there had to be a brother out there better than him. Come on. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what Roger Goodell's really supposed to do. I mean, he's the commissioner.
They got that fake ass Rooney Rule.
He's got the Rooney Rule there, which, yeah, it's kind of a fugazi. I understand that. But, like, what's he like? Should he step in and say, you have to hire this minority guy?
No, you can't do that. That's not the way that's not the way it works. It works with the owners who own the teams. You have to be a part of ownership. If you want to play in that club, you have to find a way to be in that club.
All right, so I get it. Believe me, I get that it's not the greatest of looks for the National Football League, and I'm sure Roger Goodell wishes there were more minority hires being made, but I don't know if he's going to step in and say, hey, you can't hire that white guy that you wanted. We're going to need you to.
No, you can't do that.
Which teams? You know what, Cleveland, you guys aren't going to win anyways, so please help us hit our quota this year. Like, I don't know. So that's going on. And then the other thing, this was a cut that went viral, a little more sound from Roger Goodell here. I like this. The NFL has added replay assist that at times has sped up the process and getting calls right. You'll hear officials from time to time come on and say, oh, replay assist has told us that was actually a catch or that this guy was out of bounds. And you don't have to throw the challenge flag and go through the entire process of getting under the hood, putting on the headset, whatever. So that's a great thing for the NFL, getting calls right, but not taking forever to make it happen. Roger Goodell is talking more about looking into more replay assist, maybe having replay assistants either at the games or in New York to help fix obvious missed calls. Roger Goodell said something that I don't know if it's going to fly with too many football fans here.
Again, I'm really I'm so amazed at how good our officials are. I mean, we spend time all week looking at various angles and still debating it a week later. These guys have to make a split-second decision. And the men and women on our field are incredible. And I think that they've proven over and over again they're really wonderful at what they do. On the other hand, it's a difficult sport to officiate. It's fast. It's quick. And we have to be able to use technology, in my view, to try to prevent the obvious errors. And now they're not all obvious. I think depending on which team you're for, they're obvious in your eyes potentially. But at the end of the day, we see if there's an obvious error, we need to be able to fix it. And I think technology can help. Replay assist has been, I think, a terrific advancement for us. It's been done quickly. It's been able to address those issues before a challenge is even made. We need to expand that.
Yeah, I mean, he lengthened that out. He didn't have to. I understood what he's trying to say, but did he say men and women?
He did. We got some
I
women
know.
refs.
I know. I've seen those people out there.
Oh,
Do they actually throw flags?
they do.
I don't I don't see very many of them like umpires behind the scenes where they have to duck when the ball is being thrown. They're generally sidelines, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's been a head referee that's been a woman yet, right? The person who makes the calls, but there are some referees who are ladies. Oh, head referee. Yeah, that's we're not winning that award, sir.
What? I mean, I just don't. I haven't seen them I've seen them on the sideline by the coaches, and the coaches hollering and screaming at them. I've seen them pick up the red flag that one of the coaches threw on the sideline, but I've never seen them like having to duck. Where it's third down, and all of a sudden, they duck and the ball goes zipping past them. They just get to be on the sideline right now.
It's like they're usually side judges or down judges.
Yes.
I think you're right there. Hey, women can do this job too, Buck.
Yeah, they can call that flinching wide receiver who just flinched before the snap.
Right. Now they only get 70% of the pay of the male refs. So
no,
I'm just kidding. I think I'm kidding. Actually, I don't know.
Oh no, you gotta look that up and find out if that's true.
I do love, obviously, the part that fans hate is Roger Goodell saying, "I'm amazed at how good our officials are." But then he goes on to say, he's basically like, "Well, our officials are so good that we need AI to help them do it. Like we need extra help for them to do their job, but they are so good."
Dude, I was so happy that they didn't bring in that virtual, first down marker a lot. I was so happy that I didn't see that like 5 times a game. I couldn't take that. I was like, dude, just make a call. Is it over? I'm letting you be the judge of that, officials. That's
better than the chain gang, though, right? Like all the time it would take for those old hags to run across the field to measure.
The chains get all wide, they get all tangled up.
You got Gene Steratore bringing out the index card. Remember that bit? That Cowboys Raiders game a few years ago?
Oh man, that was a part of the game. I don't need that virtual first down. Oh, they made it by a quarter of an inch. Come on, I could see they made it. I just want those clowns to run out there with the chains.
Get the call right and get it
We're
quick.
taking jobs away from the chain gang.
No, they're still there.
They still do it.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. They still do that crap.
They still do that. We got to get to this funny story here. And I got a hunch we're going to be referencing this one more in the future. I'm going to screen share this. Are you seeing this on your computer screen right now, Buck?
Yes.
So this may be the wildest headline we've ever had on this show. Not just the 2-day version of like this Bucky and BK chapter. I'm talking the last 3 years that you and I have worked together. The headline reads, "Hospital evacuated after 8-inch World War I artillery shell discovered in patient's butt."
Is that thus the brown part of that?
I don't know if this was the exact shell, but this is a World War I artillery shell that has been likened to the one that the guy had in his rectum.
You can't take that in the anus. That thing is too big.
The details. A hospital in Toulouse, France was evacuated after a 24-year-old man, young guy, arrived at the emergency department with severe pain, later admitting he had inserted an object into his rectum. During emergency surgery, doctors discovered it was an unexploded World War I artillery shell about 8 inches long, lodged inside of him. Because the shell was still alive, staff called bomb disposal experts, firefighters, and law enforcement and evacuated the facility as a safety precaution, and they set up a safety perimeter. Experts eventually determined that it was not a threat. They were able to remove it safely.
See, that doesn't come across as 8 inches. That comes across as 2 feet.
That thing looks massive, right? Maybe it's just totally zoomed in.
Oh, it is.
On this
you know how these photos find you. These people find you. Yes, they've played with your mind on this.
Here's a different picture. This one looks a little smaller.
Yeah, but that still has a lot of girth to it.
I was going to say, it's not only like 8 inches long, it was also more than 1.5 inches wide, apparently. And
still blown up.
Yeah, patient stayed at the hospital to recover. Prosecutors are considering legal action for possession of explosive munitions.
Well,
So
maybe the dude fell on it. Maybe he didn't insert it. Maybe he slipped in his house and he had that, in the corner of a room as just an antique, and he slipped on it and it inserted itself into him.
Yeah? You think that's what happened here?
Yeah, this was an accident.
Guy was just nude walking around and slipped,
Yeah,
and somehow he fell perfectly to where that 8-inch thing went all the way into a noose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think there was any monkey business going on there. I think this was a total accident, like slipping on the ice.
Well, this guy puts the ass in assault weapon, doesn't he?
Yes, indeed.
God, I'm cringing in my chair just talking about this story.
Oh,
That being having to be surgically removed from your insides.
That means his area closed over the top of that.
Yeah.
Whew.
I don't think that guy was using the bathroom very often.
I don't think I'd be going for chili today if I had that happen to me.
By the way, this isn't the first time this has happened. In 2022, also in France, what was it with the French? There was an 88-year-old man who had a very similar World War I artillery shell lodged in his backside, and they had to evacuate a different hospital for that.
Oh, the French are kinky, aren't they?
Oh my God. Is that what this is? Like, can the French just not get any action from real people that they have to go to World War weapons?
They're looking the fields and jumping on weapons.
2 of these stories in the same country in the span of 4 years. They have these are dudes that, there are other guys you could find who I'm sure would be interested in this.
And I thought getting sick from a remote control touching my butt in a hotel could do it. Man, can you imagine the sickness with that thing?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't think you ever had to go to the hospital for
No.
a remote. This guy, both of these guys had to. That is incredible, man. Also, they have toys too. If you don't want to find a real person or you can't find a real person, they have these shops that sell toys, or you could buy them online.
You don't have to look for bombs.
No, you don't have to find an explosive to insert into your backside.
The world of weird finds you somehow, some way.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, folks.
Oh
Day number 2. There you go.
Yeah.
There's something for you.
We'll have plenty more of those stories coming up here.
Of course.
But that'll do it for day 2, a Tuesday edition of Bucky and BK. Thanks to Quan Cosby for joining us. Most importantly, thanks to all of you people for hanging out with us. Again, short show on the radio tonight, 5 to 5:30. Texas basketball, the pregame show at 5:30, and then tip-off at 6 o'clock. The great Craig Way and Eddie Orrin on the call tonight. And the Buck and I will be back tomorrow. But that'll do it for this one. Buck, fun show. Talk to you tomorrow, my friend.
Brother.
Hook 'em horns. Y'all have a good one.